And welcome on a Tuesday night to Loud and Nerdy. I'm your host, JW Colwell. I'm joined, as always, by my good co-host and friend from high school, Jerry Kamora from the band Slapjaw. How are you? How are things going?
Excellent.
We are expecting Kyle, but he will be late. It is, of course, the first week in a month, so he has a big union meeting tonight. May run long. We may or may not see him.
Rude.
It's no, but he's got important shit he has to get done at this meeting.
He
so
does.
I'm all for that. But we have a big show, so I'm not gonna pull any punches here. If we miss him tonight, it'll be because we blinked and we missed it. We have a good show tonight. We have Dr. Bill Slevin joining us, Joe Franke, both going to be at Comic-Con February 6th to the 9th at the Orange County Convention Center here in Orlando, Florida. And we're just super excited to have them. They always have really good stories, and so they're going to be on in a little bit. And it's been a busy day, or 2 days, or 3 days. Let's get it out of the way. Fantastic Four trailer dropped this morning at 7 a.m., which was 4 a.m. Pacific time. And it's the rage. Everybody's talking. I think it's a really good trailer because it sets up a completely different universe. Because, like, the center of town is not the Avengers Tower. The center of town is the Baxter Building. It's definitely New York because we see the Statue of Liberty in the trailer. We see Galactus. We don't see the Herald yet, so we don't know what the new Silver Surfer is going to look like. But, aside from all the cool things in the trailer, especially all the cool things with regards to futuristic Jetson style, like cars. 60s cool hip stuff in an alternate universe, because this MCU that we're starting with the Fantastic Four is not the current timeline we're in. So they're in a different timeline. They're at a different point in their history. They are the team in that universe, and they've already got their powers. So we're not going to get an origin story. We may get flashbacks, but we're not getting an origin story, which I think is super smart, because this particular franchise has had 2 origin movies, and 2 of them didn't go well. So let's just hit the ground running. Also, no visuals of Dr. Doom or anything yet, but I think here's the thing. I think they need to build the family dynamic, and they get the family dynamic pretty right. Reed Richards walking through the house with Sue going, we're the typical American family. We have dinner every Sunday here at 7, right here at the table. Cool, hip kind of thing you would see in like an astronaut movie, like a life reporter coming to talk to the astronauts' wives, which is perfect for the Fantastic Four. And I think they get all the characters right. Everybody's, Johnny's a little bit of a hothead. Ben Grimm is sad, but he's cooking. So he's, and you did have a thing. I want you to explain you feel they've never gotten the thing right, or the size, right?
Yeah, I pictured him bigger, but the voice in the trailer threw me off too, because you're used to that deeper, that guttural. Yeah, it's clobbering time. You're used to that. I did like how he had like the detective jacket on and the hat.
And the hat. Yes,
that was pretty cool though.
He looks, and it's a sad sequence because he's talking about the picture of him on television is, I'm the best looking pilot Reed's ever been with. And then it cuts to the picture of him looking at the picture of him, what he used to be. So that's the thing. Like, not a lot of action sequences shown. They showed some running. They showed a couple powers from Sue Storm. No powers from Reed Richards. Nope. Right? No powers at all from Reed. Johnny Storm flaming on, going too high into the stratosphere, which is a comic book thing. When he gets too high, he doesn't have oxygen. And the oxygen is what fuels his fire. So, super cool there. So we're going to get a giant flare up to the top and then fall down and then flame on towards the bottom, which I think is going to be amazing. Yep. no real what depicted what happens except Galactus at the end, and he's full size. Like the way it comes across, he's at least 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times the size of the Statue of Liberty. He's, planet eater, a world devourer. So I am excited because I think they get the retro futuristic style. Everything this morning was, if you tuned in to Marvel this morning, it was, this presentation is brought to you by the Future Foundation, which is Reed Richards' foundation in the comic books for kids to look up to heroes. That's cool. And it looks like they're fully embracing it. Even when you look at like the retro numbers or the retro style,
yep,
like the Marvel Studios it reminds me so much of the Cinerama logo from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. The panel with the logos, because they used to expand the screen out. And that's what they do in the trailer. It even expands out from a television screen out to full screen. I am super excited. I think July is going to start off amazing and then go where we're headed. By the way, if you like any reaction to this trailer reaction, you should know, like and find our Facebook page, find Instagram, find YouTube, find us, and we will give you this every Tuesday night. I don't have my guy to do my comments tonight.
I know, I was waiting.
Ken McKernan. Good evening, friends. Good evening, Ken. Ken. Hello, Jamie Hill. How are you? Good evening, gentlemen. Bill Slevin saying hi, even though he's in the green room. Raven, F4 trailer was much more subtle than Superman. Lots of nods to 60 TV culture, and is generally great. No Reed stretch. Boo. No, but they're saving it. I feel the Reed stretch is going to be amazing. I also feel Clobbering Time trailer did not pique my interest. One of the very few, Ken. It's getting widespread praise because it knows what it is. It looks like a 60s action movie. And getting that right and getting the family dynamic right is the whole key to this particular. Like, if they are going to be Marvel's first family in the MCU, right, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have to get the family stuff first. The character stuff has to be first, then the action will come, especially when you throw Doctor Doom into things and you have Galactus, Silver Surfer. Joe Franke, also in the green room. Thank you for joining us. We're pleasure to have you tonight. We're super excited. And then, let's see. Really hoping the fan theory that their time or dimension displays 616 Fantastic Four, but in another dimension. Love how the thing looks. Not sure John M is playing. Still intrigued. But we'll say this, Johnny. Say Flame On. I think he's definitely going to say Flame On. So Johnny's being played by the kid from Stranger Things. The thing is being played by the kid from the Bear, the cousin from the Bear. I will wait and see the second trailer or the third. Okay. But it is not the only trailer we're going to talk about really quick before we bring in our guests. There's this teaser out there. It's a very subtle teaser. MEGACON 2.0 is coming in June. And I will say, I'm going to give a tidbit to everybody here, an interesting tidbit. I had seen one of the early screenings, and they make mention that MEGACON 2.0 is taking a lot of its direction from a 1991 movie. And they didn't mention the movie. But then you start putting 1991, you're like, what fucking movie is MEGACON 2.0 taking its direction from? And there's one 1991 movie that has a robot, where the robot in the second movie is a good guy, not a bad guy. So my question to you, Jerry, if MEGACON 2.0 pulls off a Terminator 2.0 and has Megan defending the little girl and defending the ant and completely turns everything on its head, is it like, first off, it will give a benefit to all of the Terminator stuff, right? The Terminator 2 is one of the greatest sequels ever made. But it would also make the people who are making MEGACON super smart, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we'll wait and see, right?
I just found 1991. I went through the list of everything that was released in 91. I'm like, Are they going to pull a Terminator 2? Like Megan defending her from another robot?
Well, what other movies did you find?
Not a lot. 91. I was like looking at him
what was like Sinjanor and all those lower?
I think
they were around that time, right?
Other trailer that dropped today, Jerry. More on our speed. Kind of a franchise that kind of got like a dubious end and then kind of came back. But the Final Destination Bloodlines trailer is out. Not really a trailer. It's a scene. It's a full scene, and theoretically, it gives one of the kills away from the movie. So if you're looking at about 8 to 10 kills in the movie, we're down to 9 or 7. But the key to this, and tell me what you think as a horror aficionado, because again, it is a lot of this is we'll see, but the concept is all of the people in the trailer and in the movie are related to former stars of the franchise. So like characters from the franchise. The bloodlines in the title is that people will be dying that are related to somehow to the franchise, like characters in the franchise. I think that's an interesting hook because they need something to get it over the edge because it's not a top. Like, I don't consider Final Destination to be a top flight franchise. Like, I think it was a nice, like, distraction franchise, right? It's fun, nothing to them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Not Friday the 13th, not Halloween, not Saw, not, any of the major franchises, but a fun distraction, like a fun, and especially, people don't ever drive behind a log truck ever again. Right? It's
true. True story.
You know what I mean? Like. So, what do you think of the trailer? What do you think of the concept of doing the tie-in?
The tie-in, we'll see. I mean, hopefully, it doesn't become the cliche thing. We have to find each other and figure out what's going on, and hopefully, it isn't that. But giving the kill away is pretty interesting. Because they better come through then. Otherwise, you just gave your whole movie away, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure it will, because there's never just one in those movies anyway.
But right, and I'm sure they're going to be more like. Although this one is it's a pretty good kill. Like it's like you can see it coming from a mile away, but that doesn't change.
Right.
That doesn't change the Rube Goldberg experimentation of it. Okay, some comments before we bring our guests in. Raven, we didn't mention John Malkovich. He has a brief passing glimpse in the Fantastic Four trailer, and nobody knows who the hell he is just yet. Joe says, Bill Slevin, we haven't spoken to him since he became a doctor. Congrats on the doctorate. We'll talk to him in a second. We'll tell him what happened. We'll talk about what happened. Toy Soldiers, I think you're referring to the movie that the Terminator 2 trailer appeared on, which was the same make, same model, new mission, right? It's one of the greatest trailers ever made because it's, they're doing the blue lights, the Terminator blue lights across, same make, same model, new mission, and it blew the doors off in early 1991 when it came out. Ken McKernan, the MEGACON 2.0 in 1991 refers to the fact the upcoming horror movie is heavily inspired by Terminator 2. I expect to evolve in the sequel, potentially becoming less of a threat and more of a guardian. Okay, that's what I said. Okay, cool. You only release the scene because the last few are horrible, but the first few are memorable. One log plus a truck. Yes, all true. So super cool. So we're moving fast. We're moving fast on the show, and we're always a little bit behind. But I'm so excited. So Dr. Bill Slevin now, and Joe Franke are on tonight. They're going to MEGACON the 6th to the 9th in Orlando at the Orange County Convention Center. We are thrilled to have them on the show. Dr. Bill Slevin is a parapsychologist, demonologist, educator. He's on Discovery Plus, Travel Channel, Destination America. Joe Franke, chairman of the board, regional director of Northeast Region USA, and CIO of the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. We're super excited to have them on. And welcome Dr. Joe, or Dr. Bill and Joe. How are you doing?
I'm just a PA.
You're just
I'm not a doctor.
Well, yeah, I'm working on being a nurse. A of ghostly studies. So this is the first time you've been on our network, Bill, since you got the doctorate. Tell us a little bit about what you got the doctorate in and what you're planning to do with it, or what you want to do with it.
Well, it's a PhD in parapsychology and metaphysical humanistic science. So it's something I've been working on for years. And it was good to finally get it over with. You know, it was a lot of work.
So you actually have a doctorate that's the same as Bill Murray's in Ghostbusters, right?
Well, yeah, kind of.
He's a PhD in parapsychology and psychology. I'm sorry, I'm just doing Ghostbusters riff. I'm, playing at the movies. That's what I do, Bill. That's what I do.
You're geeking.
I'm geeking out.
I'm waiting for the electroshock therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the big Indian survived it. Everything will be fine.
Get the jumper cables.
Right.
But you guys are going to MegaCon this weekend, and what is a pretty, I would say, stacked show with regards to paranormal and horror during the panels. You know, you got booths. You're booth 7139. Joe, you're in booth 7138. So you guys are right next to each other as always.
Right.
And you
that's
got
my team.
Yeah, that's your team. You got Phantasmagoric is right next to you as well. So you got all kinds of stuff going on around you. And
Deprana that's my wife. So she's
I know,
Yeah,
but I didn't want to. But so she's got her own booth as well.
Yeah, she's right next to us. We're actually all in a row, except for Phantasmagoric. They're behind us. We're all in a row.
Be careful. Actors are dangerous. Don't let them stand behind you too long. Like they'll shiv you to get apart. It's not good. So this is another year in Orlando MegaCon. Or is this your first time at MegaCon? You guys?
Like my fifth.
This is my second year. I can't believe they asked me back.
Of course they asked you. Why wouldn't they ask you back?
I had to convince them.
Yeah, we should bring him back. Nah, he wouldn't want to.
I had to bribe them.
So are we bringing what? Okay. So I'm trying to break this down. What scary stuff are you bringing with you, Bill? Because you always bring scary shit with you. And Joe, what scary thing are you bringing? Like terrifying things that I can walk away from and not talk to at the con.
I have the normal. I have all the equipment there. I'll have Robert the doll. I'll have an imitation Annabelle.
Robert is such a nice doll. He's an amazing doll, Jerry. Jerry, he's a wonderfully amazing, cool, super nice doll. I like him very much.
We have a panel.
I got Hannibal. Stay at home. I can't fit her in the suitcase.
Me and Joe have
I
a
didn't
panel
want to put her
together.
on my lap on the plane because I get looks,
Yeah, what panel are you guys doing together? What are you working on?
Well, we have a few of them, but the one is about haunted dolls. So we'll be talking all about haunted dolls in general. He'll talk a little bit about Annabelle. I'll talk about Robert.
Who's a very nice doll, Bill. I know the rules. Okay, so I haven't seen you in a little while. It's been like a year, and you haven't been on the network in a year.
Right.
Have you had any cool investigations or haunts in the last 8 to 12 months? What do you guys? Either one of you? What have you been working on, and what anything that was fascinating, scariest night, whatever you want to talk about?
We've had. Well, I mean, personally, I've had a bunch of conventions last year. We had a bunch of residential cases, and then we have done some public stuff. I was up for New Year's. I was on vacation up in St. Augustine, but I was able to the people at Ghost and Gravestones and them. They've been so great, and they comped me into the old jail at night. It's like a 12 to 3 in the morning. I went 2 different times, and a lot of activity in the old jail.
Vacation. Just
vacation. My wife didn't come. She was on vacation, but she didn't come out to the investigation.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to the beach at St. Augustine, maybe the shopping. You're like, I'm going to go to the nightmare jail.
Well, you're in the most haunted city in the country, so you have to do something.
So what is the history behind that? Why is St. Augustine, Florida, the most haunted place in the country?
It's the oldest city in the country.
So just that it's had more work. It's had more time.
It has more time. It has the fort there, and it has the lighthouse. There's a lot of history behind all of those different places up there. There's a lot of places, the cemeteries, if you go to down one of the side streets there, I forget which street it's on, is the old military hospital. And on the cobblestone street, they'll tell you that underneath is still all bodies that were never taken up from the ground, and they just built the streets over it.
Like
so yes, so it's that's exactly what I was thinking, Joe. Joe, you get me. Joe, you understand me. That's exactly where my mind raced to.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're just gonna build over it. Shit.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. Might pop up in the pool later, but everything's great.
Joe Beth Williams.
Any problems?
We didn't have any problems. It was super scary. It was amazingly terrifying. Or was it? You went twice. So did you get the same hits both nights, or did you get different hits?
It different, and it was interesting. The first night I went, there was a few things that threw me off that I never seen before. So inside the sheriff in the sheriff's quarters, I guess the wife lived there too. Her name was Lulu, and they say that she's very active in this room. So they have. It's
Lulus are always super active, Bill.
Right?
Lulus are always a little active.
That's a Lulu.
But the room, you got to remember, the place is still a museum during the day, so there's a lot of artifacts in there that were the original things. So they have her original typewriter from, I don't know when, it looks like a 1930s typewriter, Well, we were standing there, and all of a sudden you heard 3 key clicks on the typewriter right next to us. And I'll be honest, the first thing I did, because it is a tour at times and it is a museum, I grabbed my flashlight, I picked that thing up. I know you're not supposed to touch it, but I looked everywhere for that thing to be rigged, and there was nothing rigged on it. It was just an old typewriter.
Amazing.
The word out shows up. Out.
Out.
I said next time I gotta bring a piece of paper and load it in just in case.
Right. Well, just if it types like all work and no play make Jack a dull boy, make a dull girl is where you get run into it.
Whole new level of EVPs.
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen. Joe, our good friend Ken McKernan says hello, Doctor and Joe.
Hey, Ken.
V says hi, hello, PA Joe. Hello, V. Good to see you.
Hi, V. A birthday girl coming up.
Raven says welcome, guests. I was shopping for sure. Sounds about right. That sounds more my speed, V. Sounds like the story here in Montreal with the 9,000 bodies under the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And then hello, brothers. Hello, Sean Smithson. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about what you're working on and what you're doing with regards to the Warrens. Everybody, if you're a pop culture fan, the Warrens from the Conjuring franchise. That's, they're the 2 people that kind of were handpicked by the Catholic Church to basically go in and do a lot of things in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah, I actually joined Ed and Lorraine when I was 18 years old back in 1986. I met them at one of their lectures, and they had asked me to join them as a student, and I worked with them for many years up until their passing. They're wonderful people. They taught me a lot. Now I guess I would say I'm semi-retired now. I travel around the country lecturing now, trying to help talk
next
to the
generation.
And the next generation. I mean, for me it's come full circle. I'm the age now that Ed and Lorraine were when I met them. So, I was a snot-nosed teenager, a couple of months out of high school, didn't know my rear end from my elbow. Still don't know.
That's all of us from our generation.
Yes,
that's our entire generation didn't know our ass from our elbow.
Every single one of us.
Jesus, we all needed a smack. Hard smack.
Last couple of years, I've been traveling around the country. I lecture at, I do some paracons in colleges and a lot of public libraries. whoever will listen. I do a lot of fundraiser events, private events, things like that. And
Yeah,
I have
because
a
it's
series of. Go ahead.
well, because it's because like when so with a foundation or something with the Warrens, or when you get that light shown on someone, where you can like a Hollywood light shown on somebody, all of a sudden like people do research. I went to see The Brutalist 2 weeks ago, and it's about a Laszlo Toth, a fake architect, but the movie is played like it's a documentary. So I came out like looking up Laszlo Toth stuff, and I was like, he's not real. Like, Jesus. But that's what happened when the Conjuring films came out. Like the Warrens kind of like they started piquing interest online, right? The online hits went through the roof.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember many years ago, Ridley Scott was set to do a movie on the Warrens' life, and I remember Ed was still alive back then, and they were excited about it. And then something fell through, and I guess in Hollywood, one day your next best thing next to sliced bread, the next day it's something else. They're on to something else. But the Conjuring series is loosely based on some of the Warrens' more iconic cases. I wasn't involved in them because that was before my time. Even the Annabelle story, which I'll be talking down in Florida with Bill, I was only about 2 years old when that happened. So Amityville, somebody in one of my audiences said, "Oh, Joe, that's cool. You were at Amityville." I said, "No, I was like 6 years old at the time."
Relax. I was playing with Tonka trucks. And just chill. Remember Tonka trucks? They were so nice.
I do. I'd still play with them.
I still have mine. Just saying.
I still have mine too.
You can retire if you Jerry, if you still got them.
I do. I have a couple.
Oh, Jerry has so much shit. Jerry has so much stuff in his house. I like the thing about the Tonka trucks from the 60s and 70s was you could throw that shit down a hill, and they would come. You bring it back like not a scratch.
It was
not
made
a scratch.
out of metal.
Was that made out of like actual steel?
Real metal.
So let's do this fun thing, Bill. I know you, Dr. Bill.
Yeah, please.
Jesus Christ, I'm going to call you Dr. Bill every time now. So let's say
I'm just not bending over in front of him.
Well, I'm surprised it's not drbillslevin.com yet. I'm surprised he's going to be buying that shit up quick.
I have it. It points to mine. Are you kidding?
I've already gotten it.
I'll give you a paranormal experience.
Yeah, so I'll beat you up for my.
Oh, he bought that before he got the diploma.
So let's talk. We have an audience watching. Let's say somebody wants to come up with you have thousands of dollars worth of equipment. When you go to MegaCon, you run into Bill's booth. I can for sure tell you, because I've been to a couple cons with him, the stuff he has is so goddamn expensive. You're walking past it going, I smell money. Like, it's just very expensive. And so let's say somebody thinks they have something going on in their house, or they want to try something. What are some products they could buy that are like simple products to try to test something at home?
Okay. First, and I know Joe's going to back me up on this, do not test things in your house.
I know what you're going to say, too.
Don't do it in your house. I have all this
investigate your own home. No.
I never use it in my own house. I'll put the batteries in, test it if I'm going on an investigation, but that's it. You got to remember, there's also two sides. If you're going out in public, like I'm at the old jail in St. Augustine, yeah, I'm bringing 5 cases of equipment to have fun with and play around with and research and test it. It's good to test all that. But when we go into a person's home to help somebody, we do not use 95% of that equipment. We only use audio, video, and environmental style things, like things that do EMF readings. Ouija boards, no. That's why we're there. That's why we're there.
Yeah, we're there because somebody's playing, Jerry.
Exactly.
Rules. I just want to be the fat guy.
Hey, there's a lot of teams that use Ouija boards. Now, me and Joe have a little bit of a different thing with the Ouija boards. We both know they're not good, but he has a little different opinions probably than me, but I still would never ever use that on an investigation. I mean, you got to be, it makes no sense, you know.
It's like, just don't do it.
Just no sense.
But okay, so what is, of all the equipment you have, like, you know, I've seen like boxes and boxes of the stuff you have at the table, and it's super cool. We were at one con that was in the middle of a swamp. We were literally, you had all your stuff. It was a swamp. It was a camp. It was a swamp. We were there, and we were. It was a
what do you call it? A summer camp.
Yeah, it was a summer camp. It was the first time you and I met, and I just remember sitting there going, like, at the end of the day, as things progress, I'm like, you guys had and I'm not demeaning the con, but you guys had literally the most farthest out of the way spot.
Yes.
And we came and found you because Joe had known you, and I was so happy to meet you. And we had a good our first, you and I talking for the first time, where we had a really good time. And I've always, like, whenever I go to a con and you're there, I'm sure to try to find you, say hi, just because we had such a good meeting. Of all the things you use, what is the one? What are, for both of you, for Joe and for Bill? And we'll start with Joe. What's the one thing that you bring that you couldn't live without on an investigation?
Well, I have a small kit, and within that kit, I have a very holy Bible. I have my crucifix. I have my rosaries that were given to me by Lorraine Warren, and I also have the rosaries that were blessed by Pope Francis. I have my recorder, my camera. I don't use most of the equipment that Bill has, although I find it intriguing. But I'm old school. I'm an old veteran. Those things didn't exist back in the day. I do have an old Gauss meter, an old EMF meter that I use to take baseline readings and stuff like that. But you gotta use it correctly. If you're gonna do baseline readings in a home, and I'm primarily do residential cases, you got to ask the homeowner. You got to turn the power off in the house. You got to turn the juice off. You got to leave your instruments in the car. You don't want to have any kind of devices setting that off. You want to get good baseline readings. And even when that happens, you got to understand that, where we live, the planet Earth is just one big magnet. Just because
a lot of stuff
an EMF meter going off doesn't mean you got a ghost in front of you. It's a great theory, but if we believe spirits are energy and they can set off these devices, and I do. I mean, I give it some credibility, but I've never needed that. I was taught by Ed Warren personally. I used to go down and sit in his office with him one-on-one, and I actually have one of Ed's old tape recorders that the family had given me many years ago. I'm not sure what cases it was used on, but that's all we really needed, an old 8-track tape recorder. Sometimes I use a mini
like
cassette.
One of the giant ones, like with
it's a cassette one, but it's probably back late 70s model. And cool. I still use it. Still works. The best piece of equipment I have, I would say, it's a magnetic Sony tape recorder. And I've got
Jerry,
evidence with that.
You're not going to fight with Jerry on this one. Jerry will tell you that he still believes in his Beta machine that he has. Best possible video cassette you could have. Bill, what about you? What do you bring? What do you think is your one thing that you would go? I think twice about going to the jail without this, or I want to make sure I have all the information, so I would take this.
Well, outside in public, it's an audio recorder. To me, there's no better evidence than an audio recorder. I think it's the closest evidence we can get. When we go to somebody's house, we use the recorder a little bit, but it's more of our own abilities in the house. And like Joe said, we take EMF meters, but we're not taking, a K2 meter and going in and asking yes and no questions. We're doing baseline readings around the house to see where EMF is coming from, if it's causing an issue. But I mean, like Joe said, when I learned, I'm an IT guy, so I've been in the IT field for 33 years, and that's a bad clash.
Nerd. No, I'm just
yes. but back in the day, I was like, Joe, what did we used to do? We used to hang bells on cabinet doors. We used to put flour down. You didn't have all these devices back then.
Let me ask you a question.
And we didn't need them.
Yeah.
We didn't need them.
Well, that's the thing. Like we everything jumps forward, and everything kind of like, even like movies, like we're talking about beta or VHS or discs or streaming or like everything jumps forward, but sometimes good old fashioned stuff just works better. You get better results.
Well, I was going to say, people have to understand that, again, coming from somebody who's in the technology field, like, for instance, ghost apps. Everybody's using ghost apps now. And I try to explain, people don't want to listen.
Really?
Yeah, I get told, wait. I get told I'm a prehistoric investigator because I don't believe in phone apps. I work in the technology field.
We're such a dumb species.
I know how they're programmed.
A ghost app.
Yeah.
Made by
People
China.
mock what they don't understand.
You make an app for that, really?
Right. Yeah. Well, I tell them, I say,
sounds like that sounds like you being that sounds like you being a D-bag. I made a ghost app. Oh, did you? To go along with your TikTok videos? Shut up.
You have. You know how many? Wait. You know how many TikTok pages I'm banned from? Because I'll go on TikTok and I'll see somebody. This is what they do in the middle of the afternoon. They're just walking through the cemetery with the phone app, and they're having conversations with every headstone. So I'll go into the chat and I'll be like, "Hey, what are you using there?" And they'll be like, "Oh, it's the the necrophonic app." I go, "Oh yeah, that's crap and it doesn't work, right?" And then banned.
Banned.
I get banned from everything.
Banned.
But don't even get them started on orbs.
Yeah, that and orbs.
Phil's known as the orb guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
but I think people want I think part of the thing with apps or technology is people want to believe, right? And they want to think that not only do they believe, but they want to be like, well, I got one up because I was walking past the cemetery and I crossed my fingers and my phone worked. Like as opposed to like you two guys who have worked for years in this field, right? It's not something where you just kind of like willy-nilly jump into it and kind of like not take it seriously. You know what I mean?
It's not everyday constant things like you see on TV, because TV, some of these shows take 26 days to film an episode. So what you're seeing in that hour has been filmed for 26 different days. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's entertainment though. But, it's just a totally different thing when you go in. And the problem with things like phone apps and everything, what people don't understand, for them, it's great because it's instant gratification. They take out the app.
I did it.
Will start talking.
I found a ghost. Yeah.
Yes. Put the app down and walk away, and it'll have conversations with itself. But they don't understand that some of them actually use GPS to know where you are. They use active listening to hear what you're asking, and they use AI to respond to you. So, again, they're entertainment. It says right on them that they're for entertainment purposes. So, I mean,
I feel like it's. I feel like, the idea that Joe goes in and he meets them and he learns the process and he comes back and he, you know what I mean? And he just kind of devotes his life to it. And you've devoted your life to it. You got a PhD, for God's sakes. And then people are kind of like, oh, I found an app, yo. Yeah. I found an app. I got ghosts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell them otherwise.
And you can't tell them otherwise.
I don't argue with people like that. I spent 4 decades in this work, and these people
they're
want to
also
learn that
trying
overnight.
to make TikTok content too. So
they're trying to make content.
They probably know that they're full of it too. They're just trying to make content.
Right. Like I said, I enjoy them. I enjoy the shows and stuff, but just understand it's entertainment. There's a difference.
It's entertainment, and also the shows are all of the cases, right? All of the like. It like when you have a show like on A&E or a show on Discovery, they take all of the content and put it all into a season, and you're getting one episode after the other, and it's instant gratification where you're like, oh, look at that, oh, I could do that. Mm-hmm. How many times have you guys met somebody where they're like, and including me, because I've said it to you, but I would love to do it because I think I'm attuned to things. Like I feel like every once in a while I'm attuned to things, but Like I had a weird experience. It's my dad's birthday today. So my dad would have been 78 today. And the day my dad died, I came out of where I was and I was like, I think my dad's gone. Like my wife was driving me home. My soon-to-be wife was driving me home, and I was like, I think my dad's gone. And she's like, what did you hear? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, what did somebody tell you? I'm like, I don't know. It just felt like a weight, and just it was like, he's gone, right? That's where we're headed. And she was like, yeah, you know. But like, how many times do you guys run into people who are like, who think they're to like me, like I'm an idiot, but how many people do you guys run into where they're just like, I can do this, and this is, and then you talk for 5 minutes with them, and you're like, not for you.
Yeah. People watch too much TV, and they watch too much YouTube. It's one of the first questions I ask people is, oh, how many of these TV shows do you watch? And they say, oh, we love them. We love this one. I said, well, first of all, it's psychosomatic. Because not only has the seed been planted, it's been nurtured, it's been watered, and you know, and I don't say these people are making stuff up. It's just that, you know, they truly believe in their mind that they have a paranormal affliction when they really don't. You know, and it's kind of my job, or I take it to be my job to try to talk them back off the ledge. And I'm like, you don't have a demon here. Well, ABC Paranormal was here last week, and they said I have a demonic portal up in the bathroom. I'm like, you don't have a demon here. You guys don't understand.
There's only one demonic portal in the world. No, anyway, I'm sorry.
I know for sure that I don't have it. Well, I always have somebody to blame for something going wrong here. I got 2 kids.
You have 2 kids and a wife.
Yep, there's always somebody to blame. Most of the time it's myself. But.
Here's an interesting question from Raven. Hold on. An interesting question from Raven. Why do experts use Catholic iconography as if all spirits will be laid low by a certain religion? Not trying to be divisive, just a real wonder.
Mm-hmm. Well, in my case, I was born and raised Catholic. Okay, Ed and Lorraine Warren, my mentors were Roman Catholic, so I was trained in the Catholic way. I've worked with exorcists. That's why, you know, when I trained under Ed, he trained me in demonology. You know, I've had 4 or 5 demonic cases in my lifetime. Demonic activity is very rare. And
I had 7.
Very rare. Okay.
Yeah.
My God,
it's not a competition, Dr. Bill.
But I mean, they're rare.
Demonic cases. I mean, when you take somebody my size, when I was 350 pounds, I was thrown across the room, 12 feet across the room into a wall. Okay.
Okay, good. I'm 368, so I should be okay.
So people that
I'm down, but I'm not down all the way yet.
You go halfway.
I'm here to tell you demons do exist.
Oh, we lost him. Wait, just so
maybe
clear,
that might be creepy. Case number 6.
Just creepy that just as he says it, demons do exist, and then you disappear.
It followed you home.
Don't you guys bring your Kavorka here?
I carry this kit with me, and I carry it because you never know when you're going to need it. You know, but and I'm no holy roller. Don't get me wrong here. It's just
I gotcha.
You need to have the gift of discernment. You need to make sure you go in there and say, do these people have a paranormal issue or not? They are genuinely frightened, but then when you interview them, when you sit down at the table with them and you talk to them, and the husband's like, I don't know, she's nuts. She sees this stuff. She hears this stuff. I don't see fear in it. Well, it doesn't mean she's crazy. However, she could have a psychological issue. But you can have a psychological issue and still have a demonic issue. Okay? I just got a case in through the church outside of Philadelphia about 2 weeks ago that I've just started working on myself. And I had told the client that I wouldn't be able to get out there until after I get back from Orlando. And she said they've been living with this activity for 3.5 years. You know, so I'm trust me, guys, I'm my own biggest skeptic, but I know this stuff exists because I've lived it. That's why, you know, people that say demons don't exist, well, you're entitled to your opinion, but you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't live this like I have.
Well, Bill will tell you, and I think we might have eaten dinner at one of the hotels, you and I. Like, I think I swooped into a dinner where I was just like, hi, you guys are eating? I will sit next to you and also have a cheeseburger. You know, just because I wanted to hear the talk at the table because I'm so fascinated by it. But yeah, I think a healthy skepticism is great. But if you guys are, I tend to believe folks like you who come in and go, hey, why? Two things. Why would we lie about this stuff? And secondly, it doesn't help anybody to not believe in it, right? It doesn't like
Right.
if you don't want to believe in it, that's you. But I'm a big believer. A friend of
Oh,
mine is making a paranormal show called The True Paranormal Incidents by Robbie Garber. I think Amazon picked it up. Is this the most? Can I ask a question? Honest question to you both. Is this the most annoying thing for you guys that there are so many shows and so many people and so many things doing it, and you watch them and you go, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, or like,
well,
do you have that happen a lot?
This is my opinion. I don't know how Joe feels because I know Joe doesn't really watch the shows. I've always watched the shows. I look at it again as I've been on some of them. So I look at it as it's entertainment. Most of the stuff I've been on is more documentary, but you have to understand the difference between entertainment and reality. Take something like, Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters or whatever. They're real people. They're using real equipment. They're in real haunted locations. So are they going to get stuff sometimes? Sure. But there's an entertainment side of it that the producers are not going to allow you to have. If you went out with us for 12 hours and captured nothing, nobody's going to watch that, So you just have to be able to make the distinction between what's entertainment and what's not. I want to give you one more example. I was going to say it before.
And some people don't care.
Right. They don't. The hardest thing we do is try to convince somebody they're not haunted. But there's a recorder. There's a digital recorder that we use, and it's this thing. A lot of people consider it the holy grail of ghost hunting equipment. It's called the Panasonic RRDR60. It's an old little recorder. The reason behind the big thing is the TV shows started using it because it has a flaw in it. And it will a lot of times throw back all this staticky garbage at you. But the thing is, it's instant gratification. So people started using it on YouTube, and it's 9 out of 10 times that you say, hit the button and say, "Is anybody here?" It'll come back and be like, and sound, you'll be like, "Oh my God!" It said, "Get the hell out of here!"
It's
Again,
just a shitty product.
Right? No. It still works. No. It's
Jesus
I
H.
have.
Christ.
We have gotten some of the best
He had nothing to
EVPs
do
off
with
of
it.
this recorder, but you have to understand how to distinguish the difference. If I thought everything that came out of that recorder was something, I would be losing my mind. I mean, there's people that believe
Everywhere is haunted.
Sound, every sound that comes out of there is something, and it's not. You have to be able to understand. That's where the skepticism comes. Learn how to use your equipment. Learn what makes it go off,
Joe, I've asked Dr. Bill, I'm going to call him Doctor. I've asked Dr. Bill about this. And I don't think you and I have ever talked about it. I'm a movie guy. I've always been a movie guy. My dad's a movie guy, everything. So if you were to say this movie got it right, and like, let's take the Conjurings out of it, right? Let's take, because like they're definitely made to
Conjurings didn't get it right.
Didn't get it right. Okay, fair. What would be one that you saw maybe that you were like, that's close. That's as close as I've seen.
Well, there's three that come to my mind. One of them would be the movie The Exorcist. William Peter Blatty and William Friedkin said that they took painstaking attention to detail on that story. That's based on a true story of a young boy that started in Cottage City, Maryland, and it's part of my lecture series. That's why I know so much about it. But so the movie The Exorcist was based on a true story, and it started out with the use of a Ouija board. Ouija board is the most popular form of divination device, and it's very dangerous to use.
Put your shit away, Jerry.
So
I didn't open it.
Well, it's one. I mean, I've had people come up to me at a lecture and said, "I collect Ouija boards. Am I going to be okay?" So, well, I don't know. I mean, if you're not using them, that's one thing, but you don't know where these have been. You don't know what kind of rituals they've been used for. They can be dangerous. I'm not saying that, you're going to have a problem, but why spin the wheel and take a chance? The second movie would be the movie The Right, R-I-T-E.
The one is that the one with Heath Ledger? Heath Ledger?
No, it was with Anthony Hopkins. I forget the young actor that played Father Gary Thomas, who's listen to me, Italian. He is a Catholic exorcist out in the San Francisco area, and it was based on his life as a young priest when he was sent to the Vatican to study exorcism. So, and he's currently an exorcist out in the San Francisco area. But I asked Father Gary one day.
What was his name? Father Gary?
Father Gary Thomas. I asked him one day on the phone. I said, Father, do you mind if I ask you a question? And I said, how accurate was the movie to your life? He said, Joe, it was very accurate. He goes, I was on set just about every day to make sure they got it right. But it's called The Right, R-I-T-E. It came out in 2012,
now, is his name's not okay? It's the one with Anthony Hopkins. It's from 2011, I believe.
2011, 2012, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and it's Colin O'Donoghue who plays Michael Kovac. I guess they might have changed his name.
Yeah, they didn't use his real name, but that was based on his life, and it was very, very accurate. So like the Pope's Exorcist, that movie that came out with what's his name there, the actor
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. That movie was all Hollywood BS. But the third movie I liked, and I watched it again recently, was Nefarious.
That's the accurate. One with okay. Hold on. I want to make sure I get it right. I think it's with the actor from I forget
Dark Knight. The actors' names.
I think it's the actor with the Dark Knight. Hold on. No, it's not.
I like the Pope's Exorcist.
It's an entertaining movie.
It was entertaining. Yeah. I laughed. I giggled my way through it. But
I giggled my way through it. Not necessarily. So Nefarious is Sean Patrick Flannery from Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Low budget.
So
it's a really low budget
movie. Came out just a couple years ago, but I watched it a couple times and it was pretty accurate. Pretty very well made. But those three come to mind right off the top of my head. Father Gary Thomas I've spoken to on the phone a few times. And I actually asked him one day, I said, Father, I said, the scene in the movie where there's two the young girls going under the exorcism by the elder priest, I think it was Anthony Hopkins. I said, when she coughed up these 2-inch nails that came out of her throat, and he stopped me. He goes, Joe, I still have the nails. All right. So this stuff is very real. It's not something you hear about every day. It's not something you're going to see on YouTube. It's not going to see on TikTok or whatever you call it.
You mean I'm not going to be able to capture it with the recorder I buy at Walmart this week?
Probably not, but you never know.
I got that on my app. Just saying.
Yeah, dude, we have it on our app.
Get the app.
Okay. Quick
Good
comment
movies
from
to
Raven.
watch, though. Good movies to watch. Yeah. Give people some homework if they haven't seen them.
I'm gonna watch Nefarious, and I think I'm gonna rewatch The Right. I remember liking The Right. Now that you say it's very accurate, don't get me wrong, Pope's Exorcist super entertaining. I don't believe things happened the way it did, but I like Russell Crowe, so I'm down. And apparently it's a franchise now, so we're gonna get more of them. Kind of sucks commercialization of an industry. Seen it with tattoo culture in ways. There's perks, but also a lot of bullshit to wade through. But okay, so I'm super happy with you guys. I hope the questions weren't too stupid.
No.
But you guys got a big thing coming up. Well,
yeah.
I'm a big dumb animal, Joe. I just try to ask smart questions.
Same thing I say. I'm a big dumb animal.
I'm a big dumb animal. Like, I'm literally like, there are times like the
Tommy
jokes
Boy.
about me in my real life are like, did you eat paint chips as a kid? It's all Tommy Boy stuff. And it's like, no, it was paste. Like but you guys got a big thing coming up this week. You guys are at MEGACON. Dr. Bill Slevin, Joe, Frankie. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Is there your websites? What websites do you guys want to get people to? Let's start with Joe. What websites do you want to get people to if they're watching tonight and they're like, they think might something be wrong, or they just want to, maybe get into it or talk to you about it or something? where can people find you? Where are you looking?
Well, the best way, if anybody needs assistance, they can reach out to me directly. It could be Joe at JoeFranke.com, or I have jfranke at WarrenLegacy.com. You can reach out to me directly, and I work closely with Bill. I mean, he's in Florida, I'm up in Connecticut, but we're a team.
Joe, wait. Can I announce this? Because I haven't officially announced it on the site or anything, but Joe is officially on my team now. He is the New England chapter of the PERS team. We haven't announced it yet.
Proud to be so.
Wow, that's an announcement. That's a big announcement. That is
big
super.
Announcement.
Yeah.
That is super amazing.
Hey, look, anybody that needs help, but you know what? Very, very small percentage of cases actually turn out to be paranormal in nature. You know, and sometimes people need help that I can't provide, but I could point them in the right direction. You know,
And
but
that's all people want.
can I tell a quick story? Do I have a moment?
Oh, yeah.
I had a woman that contacted me some years ago, and she was terrified. She was a single mother, had a 7 or 8 year old daughter, and she had taken a picture in her bathroom with a little flip phone, and she had this little 1-inch screen, and she saw an image in the window, and she was terrified. So I came out. It was probably about a 20-minute drive for me. I drove down the highway. I went by there. I took her phone. I plugged it into my computer so I could blow it up picture. And I said, "Do you have a Michigan hoodie, Michigan State hoodie?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Honey, that's you in the picture. That's a reflection of you in the window." Okay. She was so relieved. She actually started crying. And she said, "Oh my God, I've wasted your time." I looked at her. I said, "Do you feel better? Are you relieved?" She goes, "I am so relieved. I was so scared." I said, "Then I've done my job then." I said, "You didn't waste my time." You know, so as I'm saying is that's the payment that I get, the gratification to see someone's face that you've helped. And they're not always that easy, but this one was a simple one. I tell that story because it makes a lot of sense.
Do you have a Michigan jersey? Yeah.
You can see in the reflection, it said Michigan State or whatever. And it was her when she took the picture in the frosted glass of the window in the bathroom. But she thought she caught like the Hat Man or something, a shadow figure. And
people don't realize we're happy when it's nothing. Yeah, okay.
I would imagine
we're happy. They should be happy when we tell them you have nothing. They should be happy.
Most people get upset because they want something.
Right.
They want to have something. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do.
Yeah, no. Before I let you guys go, a couple comments. JW definitely licked walls. Thanks, Raven. Thanks. My new woodworking laser engraving was going to make some mini Ouija boards, like about 2/3 wood sliding tray for the pallet shop. Bad idea or no? Just for novelty is all. Again, don't do it. It's fine, I guess. Congrats to you both on this amazing announcement on our show. Totally do it. Listen to Spirit Board as well. Raven's all about that spirit.
Talking board, spirit board, Ouija board, same thing.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Bill and Joe. Hope to catch up again soon. What about you, Bill? Where can people find your stuff?
BillSlevin.com. My team is PERSFL.com. And you could contact either way if you think something's going on, you have a question, you want to have me look at a photo, whatever, you could get me there, Bill at BillSlevin.com or Bill at PERSFL.com. But I want to say with MegaCon, if anybody's going out there, we have, between all of us on the team and everything, we have a total of 8 panels over the weekend. There's going to be some really, really interesting stuff. We have my booth, Joe's booth, the team's booth, and my wife. My wife is going to have her aura machine. It takes pictures, shows you your aura, and prints them out. She has all her unique handmade candles and crystals, and we have a lot of space down there. We have a big, we're like the big horror paranormal presence of MegaCon, and we're excited to be down there. We're down on.
We're the only paranormal people there, aren't we?
We're the only ones. Yeah,
we're the only paranormal team.
We have should be. You guys are the best in the business.
Well, we have Phantasmagoria, who are fantastic, and then also the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival.
Film festival is going on right around.
I was they were great. I was just in that magazine. They did a whole feature on me in January, in the indie horror. You know. So
well, that explains why I also got Dr. Bill Slevin, Centerfold Bill Slevin. It was weird.
see?
I didn't want to say. I didn't want to ask any questions. I don't want to,
it's going to be a fun weekend, Bill.
It's going to be a long weekend.
Well, and like I said, I wish you guys the very best. I hope everything gets out. I'm going to try to get out, but
Thank you so
I have
much,
two nephews.
gentlemen.
I have two nephews we take care of and we love, and we just sometimes I don't get where I want to go. But you guys are great, and I still, Bill, at some point I would love to just try to go and do something with you, just because I would like to try it. So at some point we'll set up to do that. Joe, a pleasure to meet you again and talk to you again.
Oh, pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much, Jeff.
We're going to talk about the Twilight Zone. If you boys want to stay around for a couple minutes, we're going to talk Twilight Zone now, if you'd like.
I would. I love Twilight Zone.
You got to get up at 7. You got to get up at 7.
I got to go pack for the plane. I got to get.
Yeah, you guys get out of here then. I appreciate you guys so much for coming on. Again,
thanks for coming on for sure.
Yeah, again,
thanks for having us.
Presence. Dr. Bill Slevin, booth 7139, PRS, booth 7140, Joe Franke, booth 7138, and V. Toretto and DePrana, 8138. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on tonight, and I will talk to you soon, and we'll touch base.
So much. God bless
it is always a pleasure to talk to you, Bill. Always. And Joe, I want to hear more stories. I want you to come back on. We'll talk. And it was a pleasure having you on tonight. Go pack. You boys be safe. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
all right.
Gentlemen.
Talk to you later.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye,
Good luck.
Bye, everyone.
Gentlemen.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating episode tonight. We're an hour and 2 in, so let's just do our shit. We're not going to get Kyle tonight. Let's start with it came from Jerry's basement. You better put that fucking Ouija board away, Jerry. We don't want any bad luck. Jesus Christ.
Right?
They're like, hey, why fool around with it? It's like,
well,
okay,
I have one.
fair. No, but it's like, why fool around with it? Fair. What's the movie tonight, Jerry?
Well, tonight's movie, I kept with the theme. It is The Changeling. I know I'm getting a glare.
That's okay, I'll do it for you. How about this?
Yes.
How did you die, Joseph? How did you die in this house? Why do you remain?
What I have, I lent my movie out to somebody, I guess, and never got it back this
soundtrack.
is the soundtrack.
It's one of the greatest horror soundtracks ever put out.
That's why I bought it.
It is a 1980 movie with George C. Scott. It is very scary. It is extremely well done.
It's my favorite.
And it's one of those movies that isn't. It's like. It's one of those movies. It's one of those underrated 80s movies where you just like look up and it's really,
you know what it is?
Brilliant.
The people who made The Ring have seen this movie. Just saying.
Very, very fair. We got two things for me. Let's see. Let's do a quick review first because we didn't get it because we're talking about trailers. I'm going to do a quick review. This movie I saw this week, and everybody should see this movie as soon as possible. It's called Companion. It has got Sophie Thatcher, who is from Yellow Jackets. It's got Jack Quaid from The Boys, Lucas Gage, Megan's son Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows, Rupert Friend. It is a fantastic movie. It is a meet cute movie, and it's from the producer. The producer of this film, Jerry, is an amazing producer that I love very much. Producer of this movie is a guy named Zach Kreger. Zach Kreger is one of the hottest names in horror right now. He's 43 years old. He started out as a comedian, but he's made Barbarian. He's the producer of Companion. He has a movie coming out called Weapons, and he has a couple other movies in preparation, including Occupant, and another movie that's an untitled Resident Evil reboot. Zach Kreger made Barbarian, one of my favorite movies. This movie starts out much the same way. It's a meet cute, and two people, they meet in a grocery store. They become a couple. They get invited to a picturesque lake house, and that is all you should know about it. going in. It's Sophie Thatcher's great. She's rumored to be up for an X-Men role. The one they gave too much away in the second trailer, but the first trailer had just her putting her hand over fire, and like, why is this happening? It will all make sense, and the movie gets better as it goes on, and it's really funny. It deals with toxic masculinity. It deals with too much needy couples, right? It's got a twist. And the thing is, sometimes, Jerry, in horror films, you and I both know that when they make twists, they don't work.
True.
But
because
I will
you
say,
figure it out.
Yeah, I would say. Well, I'm not saying you won't figure it out. There are hints. But what I would say is, once the twist happens, you can't possibly figure out where it's going to go. And that's the same that I feel can be said about Barbarian, which I think is one of the better horror films made in the last couple of years. He's got a real talent for having a story that zigs, zags, and goes completely different way from where you thought it was. And Sophie Thatcher is absolutely amazing, and she's going to be a super big star. Also preview for this week, we got Love Hurts. Ki Wei Kwan, and plays a realtor who is also a mob person who has to fight off all the people coming after him. And it allowed for all the Goonies to be on a
star, right?
He got a star on the Walk of Fame before this movie comes out. And what I would say to you is, that's Mikey, that's Chunk, that is Data, and that is Mouth. So you have 4 Goonies, and then you have Carrie Green, who is also a Goonie, but one of the girl Goonies, and they were all together on a runway. And if that doesn't lead some sort of credence to maybe they'll make another Goonies or whatever the hell they're gonna do. That movie's coming out. It's a big movie. It's him and Ariana DeBose.
Well, either that or that dude's just like a genuine great dude, and they wanted to be there for him.
Everybody came out to see him. The one that wasn't pictured was definitely there was Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin was already also there. And also Chris Columbus, who is rumored to be writing a screenplay. Just saying. And then also for all horror fans this weekend, Romance is Dead, Hard Eyes, a slasher movie that apparently is very charming and fun and gratuitously violent and a good slasher.
Well, yeah, Valentine's Day is coming up, right?
I would say, Jerry, and you know this, and I think people watch the show know this. I love slasher movies. I think they're done right. They are exquisite pieces of art. Yes. Done poorly, they can be, even the bad ones can be mildly enjoyable.
Yes.
But done well, if you have somebody that understands the genre, and the person producing Hard Eyes, right? The person producing Hard Eyes is Christopher Landon. Christopher Landon, of course, is the Happy Death Day guy. He knows what he's doing. Because Happy Death Day was really good. I enjoy that movie. And Happy Death Day Part 2 was Happy 2 Death Day, or whatever the hell it was. The second one was really good.
That's the one with the baby masks, right?
That's the one with the baby masks. He also did Freaky. Which is a fantastic, Vince Vaughn, serial killer movie where they switch bodies. Serial killer and the teenage girl switch bodies. So he seems to know what he's doing. So I think Hard Eyes might be fun. Let's get to the Redux. I've gotten everything out that I wanted to get out. Let's get to the Redux. Twilight Zone Redux, Jerry. We are in rare form here. Because if you think about this, Jerry, we have had a string of episodes of the Twilight Zone, Jerry, that you go, holy shit, that is an amazing string of episodes. So, just so we're clear, we had The Howling Man, Eye of the Beholder, and now we get Nick of Time, Jerry.
I really like that Howling Man one, though. That one.
The Howling Man is fantastic, and the idea. So, Nick of Time, I'm going to show an amazing picture of the amazing Rod Serling sitting next to the Mystic Seer.
I want that.
Also, just so we're clear, the Howling Man had his particular view of the devil. This one has a particular view of the devil, right?
I want that.
And this is a fascinating episode, Jerry. Opening narration. First off, it's the 7th episode of season 2. 43rd episode of the Twilight Zone, aired November 18th, 1960. The hand belongs to Mr. Don S. Carter, male member of the honeymoon team, en route across the Ohio countryside to New York City. In one moment, they will be subjected to a gift most humans never receive in a lifetime. For 1 penny, they will be able to look into the future. The time is now. The place is a little diner in Ridgeview, Ohio. And what this young couple doesn't realize is that this town happens to lie on the outskirts of the Twilight Zone. So they're newlyweds. It's Don and Pat Caller. Of course, the newlyweds are... The lead in the episode is this man here, who you will recognize as one James T. Kirk, William Shatner. And they go to this little diner. The guy keeps trying to push the chicken fried steak, but they want like sandwiches. Sandwiches are good, which is funny because the guy keeps on telling them not to order the sandwiches. And then they find this little machine for a penny, and they start running through their change. He's worried. First off, Jerry, I was wondering, the interesting thing about this episode, right? They put a lot of little clues to how fucking superstitious Don is. So when he pulls the change out on the table, he drops the change on the table. He has a clover tied to a rabbit foot.
Right.
He makes his wife cross her fingers. Like, there are tons of little things where he is very superstitious.
He's already predisposed.
He's predisposed to this horrible little machine that's going to happen. And as it progresses, what happens is they start asking the machine questions, like, not, dicking around, should I have the sandwich questions, right? Like, they
Are we
ask
going to make it
questions
to
like,
our destination?
am I going to get to my destination? Am I going to get the promotion at work? The card says it's been decided in your favor. So Don calls the office, and he learns he's been promoted to office manager. Then he says, will our car be fixed in time? Because they break down. And, it produces relevant answers. And then it produces a thing where the episode takes the turn. And the turn is, don't leave the diner. This is him making the phone call. He's so fucking giddy. And he asks her if she crossed her fingers. She's like, I cross my toes. Because she is not superstitious.
But you know what I liked about the cards is the card didn't give you a definitive answer. It gave you a guided answer.
Well, look at this. This is an example. It is quite possible. So what happens is he took it. He takes it negatively. He says, should we leave the diner before 3 p.m.? And it says, it is quite possible. She's like, well, it doesn't sound like it is possible. We shouldn't leave. But she makes him leave the diner before 3 p.m. And they go outside, and he leaves a few minutes before 3, and they're almost struck by a car crossing the street. So they come back to the cafe. And they find there's another couple at the table.
I like how he gets aggravated that there's people.
He gets super aggravated there's people at the table. So he waits at the counter, and then he goes back, and they go back to the table, and he asks a series of different questions, including one about the car. Seer answers it's already been taken care of. Mechanic then steps into the diner and says the car is fixed. And then Don challenges the woman he just married, Pat, his wife, try it for herself. So she asks the seer trick questions, but the answers are still accurate. And then Don gets very deep into this, where he's like, I want to know where we're going to live. But she looks at him and says, I don't care what the machine says. We can plot our own future. We're not held to any standard or anything. And and he's capable of making his own future. She gives him the power. And in the moment, it's this great moment where it's a newborn, and we've all had that moment, right? And I'm going to show you a picture of it. We've all had that moment where your significant other gives you power through a situation, or helps you make a decision, or the decision you make is something where your partner looks at you and goes,
Should
yes.
I become a cop? Jasper's leaving some good ones.
Okay. Comments. God damn it. Dance around like savages. Yay, no Kyle. Woot. Herd Companion is great. It is great, Raven. You should go see it. He does his own fight scenes. Yeah, he fought a giant lizard once. Are you trying to say girls ain't Goonies? Laugh out? No. I'm just saying that somebody might not recognize her with regards to all the other Goonies that are standing next to her. I wasn't making any. Should I get on a plane?
That's the other Shatner episode.
Should I become a cop? Yeah.
DJ Hooker.
Should I use Priceline? But yeah, so he asks all these questions, but at the end of the episode, she gives him power to say, you don't need this machine. We can do it together. Right? So it's an amazing end to the episode, and realizing that she's telling the truth, and he apologizes to her, announces that they're leaving to do what they please. And this is where I think the episode gets its genius, right?
Yes. The end, right?
Because they walk out, they get in their car, and they drive away. And you're like, they've found newfound power as a couple. It's amazing. But then the shot goes back into the diner. And the diner, there's a couple. And they're disheveled. And they're beaten down and downtrodden. And they look like this. And he sits down and she's like, go ahead, ask your questions. And he has a pile of pennies.
He couldn't escape it.
And after the older couple enters the diner and they're sitting at the table and they ask about their fate. And it's like, can we leave Ridgeway today? And they get a bad answer. And the closing narration is counterbalancing the little town of Ridgeview, Ohio. 2 people permanently enslaved by the tyranny of fear and superstition, facing the future with a kind of helpless dread. 2 others facing the future with confidence, having escaped one of the darker places of the Twilight Zone. So that is fucking Rod Serling telling us this is one of the darkest places in the Twilight Zone. Ridgeview, Ohio. If I was Ridgeview, I'd put it on a fucking map.
I looked it up. Ridgeview is an unincorporated community in central Clear Creek Township, Warren County, Ohio, United States.
So, some production notes on this episode, which is a fantastic episode. We've had 3 bangers in a row. Richard Matheson, I always tell you, Jerry, if you see Richard Matheson as the writer of the episode of The Twilight Zone you just watched, you've been, you've been blessed, because Richard Matheson is one of the greatest writers in the history of writing, right? He's one of the great science fiction horror writers. He also tried to get Pat Breslin, who played Pat in this episode, to be Shatner's wife in the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet episode. So that's one of the small things behind the thing. The street and the building in the episode are also similar, and they're the same as the episode I Sing the Body Electric, which we'll be getting to. Both episodes happen to feature people run over by vehicles on the same street. And the street and the building are also visible, and you'll be seeing the episode Black Leather Jackets. And the record in the jukebox to celebrate his promotion, Don chooses the Glenn Miller version of American Patrol. And there's an episode of a TV show from 2019 revival series titled Replay that features a shot of the Mystic Seer in a cafe. I think it is one of the truly great. You can also see it if you go to Twilight Zone Tower at Disney. That thing is one of the truly great Twilight Zone artifacts.
I'd love to have one.
You know what I mean? It's super cool. But it's a great episode. Cool. I'm very much, I'm super excited. It was such a good episode. We've had a good run. Next week it comes down a little bit. We get the lateness of the hour, which isn't. I don't remember seeing this one. But lateness of the hour is next week. So, Jerry, you got anything coming up? Where can people find your stuff?
We're playing a show out at Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey on the 15th.
Nice.
And you could find Slapjaw everywhere. Me, it doesn't really matter so much. I'm on Facebook.
You can find me, JW the Movie Guy, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, IMDb. We're all over the place. We have a lot of good things going on in the network. I want to thank our guests, Dr. Bill Slevin, Joe Franke. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It was so great having them, and every time I feel like you learn something new when you have the Joe Franke coming on and having them both on. I feel like you know, if you get a chance, you're in Orlando this weekend, you want to go see them, February 6th and the 9th, Orlando MEGACON. They're all there to be found, including Dr. Bill Slevin's very beautiful wife and Joe and the rest of the PERS team. I thank them for coming on tonight, and we wish them nothing but the best at MEGACON. Last comment of the night. Awesome episode. Great episode, guys. Needed a distraction. I'm glad we could help you, Raven. Thank you for joining us. Everybody have a great week. Go see some movies. Love Hurts, Hard Eyes this weekend. And then next week is Brave New World. Everybody's going to be buzzing about Captain America. Oh, by the way, go meteor shower, meteor strike, spontaneous combustion, anything to any of the teams in the Super Bowl this weekend. Can't stand either one. Can't stand the fan bases either one. I'm in it for the.
Well, I'm getting wings. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm getting wings, and I'm in it for the commercials.
Whoever wins. I'm getting wings.
Getting something. Where are you getting the wings from?
V-Spot.
V-Spot.
Remember JD Crackers?
Yes, but V-Spot has good wings. I need wing places when we come in because some of the wing places we used to go to closed.
Oh,
so
we'll have to hook up when you come in.
Yeah, some of the wing places closed, and we went to order the wings, and her dad was like, "That place isn't open anymore." Like, what?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Things are different up here.
A little bit different. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Find good stuff.
We thank Dr. Bill Slevin and Joe Franke. Check out their websites. Have a great week, and we'll see everybody next week. Enjoy the Super Bowl commercials, the halftime show. Maybe not the game. I don't want the Chiefs.